Hi friends, today we are going to discuss another interesting topic. When I was a small child, I used to make paper planes. I think you all would have, right? And after a small amount of flight, the plane always drops to the ground and it used to make me very sad. And I used to look at the jet planes in the sky and wonder how are they able to stay in the sky so stable and my paper plane is always falling down on the ground. So it it made me think, and I saw that if we think very closely, we can find out all the forces which are in play and make our own understanding of how things are working when the plane is flying high in the sky. Okay, so let's look at the jet plane when it is in the sky. What are the forces that are in play? So the first force is there is gravity, which we know, right? Everything is pulled downwards because the earth has a lot of gravity. So but something is keeping the plane up in the sky. Let's call it lift. We need to understand better what is this lift. But as of now we know that gravity is there, which is pulling downwards, and there is some other force which is the lift. Then the plane is burning some fuel, so it burns some kind of a gas or a liquid. So in the exhaust there is a lot of smoke or burnt air that is coming out with a lot of force. So there's a lot of drag, which is the smoke or the gas which is coming out. And as Newton's third law says, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So because of the drag, there is a thrust which is pushing the plane forward. The same concept applies when we are swimming, right? We are pushing the water back, the water is pushing us forward. So, and there is a very small force here which is friction. Every time any object is moving through air, there is a lot, it's coming in contact with a lot of air particles, and they are all trying to slow the object down. That's called friction. So now let's try to understand the lift factor, because that is the most important. The others we are almost self-explanatory. So here if we look at the wings design, it is not a straight line, any plane's wing. There is a curve, there's a curve. It's not a straight line, the wings are little curved and they are sloping downwards. The wings are not staying flat to the ground, they are a little tilted. So these two forces are there, a little curve and the slope which is downwards. So how that plays out and how we generate some lift, let's try to understand. So if we see from the cross section, the wing looks like this, and there is a lot of air flow which is coming around the wings. What happens is at this point the airflow is split. Some air goes above the wing, some goes below the wing. But the air that is going above the wing, they have a longer distance to cover because of the curve. There's a longer distance. So what happens is the air particles, they spread out, and here they get concentrated because that's a shorter distance. So what happens is, because they are spread out here, there is low pressure, means they have space to move around, so there isn't enough pressure. At the lower end, because they are concentrated here, there is a lot of colliding with each other, so high pressure. They are trying to get out of that space, so we have a pressure difference. So what happens, the air moves from high pressure to low pressure. To explain it a little better or in a simpler way, these particles here, they want more space, and the space is available above the wing, so they go up. And That's the reason we generate lift, and the plane stays up because the wings are constantly pushed upward. And another factor is because of the slope. We discussed the curve. The next factor is the slope. All the air, either it's the low air or the high air, they are going downwards. So what happens is, if you see, if you draw a line in the center, it's downwards. So what happens again, there is concentration here, high concentration and low concentration on top of the wing. Again, high pressure, low pressure, one more factor of lift. So these two factors, they generate lift on the plane's wings. So the plane stays up, and as long as there is drag and thrust, the plane is moving forward, is cutting through air, air is generating lift, lift is cancelling gravity, it's staying up. So we understood the jet planes. Now for the paper planes, we apply the same forces. We have some initial thrust. When I throw the plane in the air, there is a thrust, but it's not constant. It stops after it's let go from my hands. But in the plane, the thrust is constant because there is burning of fuel. But in my plane, my paper plane, the thrust stops. After that, the friction and the gravity, they take over because there is no drag, no thrust. The friction and the gravity, they slow down my plane and pull it down. The lift which was there initially, a little bit of lift because the air is still getting split here, but it's not constant. So after a certain while, my plane, due to friction and gravity, goes down. So the two forces we talked about are gravity and friction. They take down my paper plane. But in the case of the jet plane, it is able to stay up constantly. So I hope you found this video useful. If you like the video, please like the channel, subscribe and press the bell icon, and we will be adding much more interesting content later. Thanks for watching. Thank you.